out of the ether, the idea of one Hout Bay popped into my head. I posted that on Facebook and asked people to join and have a meeting last Sunday at a friend's house, and there were about 60 of us from across the community to form a social advocacy and communication platform. And out of that, Ian Dunlop said, well, let's have 67 hours and invite privileged people to come live here in the TRA and viscerally experience how people live here. Because this is not humanity. This is not how people should live.
My son goes to school right here, right next door. We drive past here every day. And especially in the last few weeks, there have been so many opinions. And for me to really form an opinion about something, it is important to actively go in. Not sit behind a keyboard, but just talk to people, open your mind, have honest conversations, and where possible, really, even walk a mile in their shoes.
At first I was a bit scared because I was mugged a few months ago. So yeah, I was a bit scared, but now I've overcome that fear.
I've had friends ask me on Facebook, and this, weren't you cold last night? And I wasn't cold because the warmth of the community here is absolutely amazing. If you go to the suburbs, Constantia, and you go to somebody and ask them, do you know your neighbor? They might know their next door neighbor, but they don't know their neighbor. Here's a community. If my neighbor doesn't have a candle, they go borrow half a candle. They're given half a candle. They're given 3 matches. The sense of sharing and helping each other here is so strong. And if you could take the essence of that and put it into the greater Hout Bay and actually put it into this country, I think we'd solve so many more issues.
Well, I made some really nice friends, and I just felt that those people there on the field were not different than us. They have a different skin color, but I mean they're still humans. They're still the same, and they don't deserve a life like this.
But I must say, the moment that we were welcomed here by our neighbors for the night, that we sat around the fire, that we had Casper playing soccer with the guys here and my daughter just dancing around with the girls here, it felt so good. So all in all, a very enriching experience.
These new neighbors like Dion, we were very glad because I think they want to experience what we experienced before, and so that they're going to explain what they experience. But it's a pity they're going to be here for a few days. Meanwhile, we were here for long, that we can have a long history to tell those that can help or can do the proper thing or proper ground for us.
It was tougher than I thought, I must say, because you kind of go in thinking, well, maybe some kind of camping experience, but you really realize we were staying here with the 4 of us, and like some families do. I slept on the floor, 3 of us on the bed. It is cold, it starts raining, the water comes down, and then at a certain point at night there was a very loud banging on the door and singing, and I was at that point so scared. I sat up straight with my kind of pepper spray thinking, how do I protect my family? And I realized this is what happens here every day. It turns out that it was not at all something scary, but at that moment you feel so fragile, so vulnerable.
At home I go switch on the lights, I go buy some electricity, I light a fire, I put on the heater. It's things that as privileged people take for granted because that's just the privilege we were born in. Here it's a struggle against the elements, it's a struggle against wet, cold, no heat. How do you cook for 5 children every night?
So in the middle of the night, sometimes you just have to go to the toilet, and then you kind of don't really feel safe of just walking alone in the dark in the middle of the night, and there's rats everywhere. The toilet is dirty, and I just can't imagine that people have to experience it.
From the shacks, we also experienced that wind and the floods of water. We couldn't walk here. We couldn't walk. Some of people, they came to take some pics, but they couldn't go through. They had to stand there in front of the road.
I wish we could make a real difference. We don't really make a difference by staying here. We learn something ourselves. We would love to do more to change the situation. I just don't know how. It's very complex, but that's what I would like to do.
We can solve this problem together if we connect the dots and start talking to each other.